my senses.
A key figure in former U.S. President Richard Nixon's trip to Beijing in 1972 has criticized Donald Trump for ceding global leadership to China, calling Trump's Asia tour a repair mission. Winston Lord, who is a young Foreign Service officer, traveled to China with former U.S. National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger before Nixon to lay the groundwork for the historic visit, said Trump's foreign policy had served to make China great again. Lord took Trump to task at an Asia Society event in New York for being tougher on allies than he is on dictators and sucking up to China's President Xi Jinping, flip-flopping on Taiwan, accepting Chinese actions on North Korea as being more decisive than they really are. Lord said Trump's America First policy meant leaving the field to China. The fact that his foreign policy is essentially military-only, and with his trade disruption and total inattention to human rights and democracy promotion and soft power, and gutting the State Department, all of this weakens our posture, said Lord, who served as U.S. ambassador to China under former President Ronald Reagan, a Republican, and Assistant Secretary of State for Asian and Pacific Affairs under former President Bill Clinton, a Democrat. I've never talked about presidents this way in sessions. Trump is unique. Donald Trump gets red carpet welcome in Beijing but tough tests ahead on trade and North Korea. Trump has been criticized by many in his own party, including Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker and Arizona Senator John McCain, for his contentious attitude towards allies in Europe and Asia. Pressure on Trump has increased since Democrats won governorships in New Jersey and Virginia this week. The states were previously controlled by Republican governors, and U.S. pundits suggest the results signal a broader shift in support away from Trump's policies. Just before Trump left for Asia last week, he put on his itinerary the East Asia Summit, an annual gathering of leaders from 18 nations in East Asia, Southeast Asia and South Asia, including the U.S. and China. The last-minute edition followed a chorus of criticism from foreign policy experts across the political spectrum that skipping the annual event created more space for China to fill in terms of leadership in the Asia-Pacific region. I think HE's making a mistake, Walter Lohman, director of the Heritage Foundation's Asian Studies Center, said at a media roundtable last week, referring to Trump's earlier plan to skip the summit. The U.S. should be at the table to express its views and counter some of the things that the Chinese say that contravene American interests. China's talks. What are the three things Donald Trump and Xi Jinping want most? Advocating a foreign policy of strong military engagement in regions where the U.S. faces geopolitical adversaries. The Heritage Foundation traditionally supports the foreign policies of Republicans more than Democrats. So far, Trump's Asia trip is at least temporarily correcting some hardline stances the U.S. president took against Japan and South Korea on trade and their share of spending on security initiatives in Asia, Lord said at the Asia Society event. I'm glad to see now that Trump has decided to attend the East Asia Summit at the end of the trip. It would have been a disaster if he walked away from that.